going on, everyone? I am actually going to do a tutorial video on how to turbo hack a Radio Shack 12588. This is the way that I do it. I'm sure other people mount their switches in a different fashion or whatever, but the wiring is all soldered up the exact same way. It's fairly easy. Of course, I'm going to be cutting the video on and off and editing it into one long tutorial in the Windows Movie Maker. So this will cut in segments, but I will do my best to show you exactly what needs to happen. First, if you happen to get your hands on a Radio Shack 12588 that's unhacked, you're going to have to take out the case screws. There's one there, two down there. Of course, there's a clip right here. You take the clip off, two in there, and then there's going to be one in the battery compartment. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 case screws. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those case screws out, and I'll be right back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. I've taken out the case screws and I've set them over to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera down and I'm going to pry the case apart. It just pops right up. Okay. Now you want to be really careful with these solder joints right here that run to the battery terminals. I have had those come off on me before, which is really no big deal. If it happens, you can just resolder them on. It's just a pain if they do, and you don't want to do it if you don't have to. Anyway, let's just go ahead and say that you just got this. It's not hacked. You're looking at this board. First of all, what you need to do is you need to hack it, and to do that you need to cut mute. Well, this board is usually screwed down. I took the screws out because I've actually already cut mute, but I've done nothing other than that. You're gonna unscrew a screw that's gonna be in a hole right here, and I believe maybe one up here. I don't know, there might just be one screw. Anyway, take the screw out, lift the board up, and as you're looking at the board, you can see that gray wire that's snipped. It's the second from the right. It's going to be labeled on the board. It's up here up top. Let me zoom back out. See up top right there where it says mute, on, off, mute, F. Okay, so mute is going to be the second wire. On, off is going to be the first wire. Don't touch that red wire, that first wire. You just want to sever this mute wire right here. Now the 588 hasn't been known to stop its scan when it's just regularly hacked. It's actually quite an awesome ghost box, just as is as it sits. But I've personally owned 3 of them, and every one of them, if I just cut the mute wire, they stop their scan frequently too. It's pretty annoying. I don't know why that is. I don't know if I was getting newer ones from the last year they were produced and maybe that was just an issue that they had during that year or what. But that's why I turbo hack them, and once you get it turbo hacked, you do not have to worry about it stopping. I can assure you that. So what I'm gonna do is I'll be right back with what we're gonna use for the job. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, people. We are still looking at the board, and the mute wire has been cut. I did not do that right now, but you can see that I did that at an earlier time. Now this is what we're ultimately going for. See that switch right there? Alright, now I'm going to turn this on and you can just watch it. This is an FM sweep. I'm going to hit the switch. Causes the FM to sweep. Now for me to go to the AM band, I've got to knock the toggle switch back over. It's still sweeping, but now I can hit the AM band. Now watch the AM band. Boom. It's flying just as fast as the FM band was. I would say 100 millisecond easy. Now, normally it goes at this speed, which is 2 to 250 millisecond, which is not very useful at all, especially for AM. But I've gotten some really interesting stuff out of it in turbo mode. So what I did was I found these handy little red micro switches, and that's what we're going to be using. Let me get one out. Got my baggie of them right here, just for this occasion. And not only are they small, but they're two-prong. And two-prong is important because the way that I mount my switch, I want it to fit in the hole where the hold button was. You're not going to need the hold button anymore, I can assure you. With it sweeping with the switch on, that's the same thing as hold. There's not, you can't hit another button and it stops sweeping unless you hit that toggle switch. And the switch is on there. It's not flimsy. It's not something you got to be delicate with. The way that I do it, I definitely mount it on there. It takes some. What you're going to need is you're going to need a hot glue gun. Okay. Get yourself a hot glue gun, and you're going to need a soldering iron. I use a Radio Shack 30-watt soldering iron, and I go through a lot of tips. And I got the helping hand set up, and I also got soldering tweezers right here. So I've got quite a bit of tools to do all this stuff. If you don't have any of the tools, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than how I'm going to make it look. Let me see if I can get a tripod to set up so that way you can catch me actually soldering this on. I'll be right back. Alright guys, here we are. I've got my camera set up on tripod. Basically, here's the radio, okay? Now, I've got this back piece that's got the battery compartment on it, okay? And I've got this top board that lifts up that's connected to the bottom board. We want to get on the other side of this bottom board right here. So, it's screwed down by 4 screws, so I'm going to unscrew those screws. So that way I can get underneath that board. Basically all a turbo hack is a toggle switch that's soldered onto the up or down scan button. So basically when you flip it on, it's holding scan down for you. That's all that is happening. Nothing more or less. It's nothing super magical. What did I do with my screwdriver? There we go, that one works. Now you don't want to lose these screws. You want to set them to the side. There's one. There's 2. There's 3. My big fingers have a hard time grabbing them sometimes. And here's 4. Now, your board, oops, must be difficult. Your board is going to be fastened around some of these plastic poles, so you have to be very gentle as you lift up. There you go. Not sure if you saw that, but I just unscrewed those 4 screws and popped the board all the way out. That's not the side, that's the side we were looking at when it was in the radio. We want the other side. Side with the digital display. That's where the magic happens. Now, if you look on the side with the digital display, there's going to be a down button right here, and there's going to be an up button right here. That's up and down scan. These other buttons you don't need to be concerned with. Now I like to go with the down scan. Now you're gonna actually have to, this little clicky metal thing right here, it's got to come off because you got to get underneath. That's where you're going to be soldering to. And the tools that you're going to need to complete this job is you're going to need some wire. Doesn't matter what color you use, and it doesn't, polarity does not matter either. Like, say for instance, the red wire does not have to go to the first hookup on the switch or the second hookup. You could use 2 red wires, one for the first hookup and one for the second hookup, and as long as you've got it soldered correctly on the down or the up scan, it's all going to work the same. You really can't mess it up unless you solder it wrong. You don't want to use too much wire. I already have a short piece of green wire, it looks like. So I don't know about how long is the perfect length. I'm gonna say, I've done this a couple times, it's been a minute. I like to use at least 4 inches of wire, I'd say. About 4 inches of wire. Alright. Excuse me while I take a vape. Yeah. Alright, where are my wire cutters? Those have got up and left the building. Alright, well I can't do much without my wire cutters, and they're usually right here. Oh, there they are. They're camouflage underneath the switches. My work table is a mess, as it should be. It's a work table. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of wire about yay big. Not sure if you can see that. That's about 4.5, 5 inches tops. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do traditional black wire, red and black. Doesn't matter, I could use 2 of the same color as stated before. I use different colors just for the sake of doing it. I like to solder up my switch first. That way I'm not messing around with that. And after I get it soldered down into the radio, I don't want to solder it down into the radio and then be messing with the other end and having weight put on it, and then it coming off back off, and it can be a real pain. So, correct order of operations would be to solder your switch in place. Now, like I said, polarity does not matter on the switch. I'm just going to do the red wire to the middle prong. Hi, son. Yeah, Walking Dead. We know. Alright, we're going to move that out of the way so that way it doesn't get soldered on. Alright. Need to get the black wire on there. After we get this switch wired, we will be good to go. Then all we gotta do is attach it to the radio, and we are in there. Come on, bub. Daddy's doing a tutorial. Alright, fellow YouTubers, that's my 3-year-old son in the background. Man, I hate this wire. As you can see, I got the wire that it's not one solid piece of copper. It's like speaker wire. You gotta like twist it up. I don't like it. It's not the stuff I'm used to getting. Messed up and got the wrong wire. Not too happy about it. So now I gotta mess with it. Alright. My wife and my son acting a fool. Alright, I got that wire through the hole finally. Now I'm going to solder it down. Alright, now I have a switch with red. Not sure how well that'll focus. Red and black. And pull them out. Got a switch with 2 leads. That's what I want. Okay? Now, what must happen next is you can select either the up scan or the down scan on the board. Okay? I'm going to use the down because I like down. I like reverse sweep. What you gotta do is you gotta peel this metal piece. It's like a little, I get a flathead screwdriver. That little, this piece right here, it like, you can feel it push in. That's gotta come off. You want to basically see like a horseshoe when you take it off with a dot underneath it. That dot is going to be where you solder. That's one of your solder points. And then the outer rim of the horseshoe is another solder point. Okay, I just started peeling it off with my finger. See how I did that? I just got it up. See what I'm talking about underneath there? How it looks like a horseshoe? There's a circle with a, like a C around it. That's what you want to see. Okay? There's like this weird plastic film underneath, and you want to get that out of the way because you want to have contact with the metal, basically. Alright, now that that's exposed, it's a very, very simple concept. Let me see if I can hold it so that way you can see it on the camera. That C right there, I can solder this black lead to the center right here. Okay, now pretend that's still there. Now the red lead is going to come in, and it's going to be soldered to the outer rim of the circle. I like to choose like one of these holes. So one to the center and one to the outer rim. And the rosin doesn't always want to stick. You have to get it just perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and see how long it takes me to do this. I've done it in 2 minutes before, and it's taken me 20 minutes at other times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and solder the black lead to the outer post. And again, it helps to have these tools. As you can see, I'm not holding anything. Really well to the center, and it's not touching the outer C part. Come on, focus. See how I got the red soldered into the center? Well, that black wire I've got to get soldered to the outer C part right there. And then it will be an official turbo hack. And I think I just got it. First try. What? Wesley. Bam! And we have a turbo hack. That is after I hit the switch on the FM band. Okay? Now, I'm going to pop the switch back over, and I'm going to hit the band button, which should take it to AM. It's on AM. Let you see the screen. It says 520. Let's see if we can get this on screen. Bam. And that is how you do a turbo hack. Like I said, polarity doesn't matter. The black wire could have went where the red wire went, and the red wire could have went where the black wire went. Just as long as one is in each spot, okay? And it's going in a downward sweep because I manipulated the downward sweep button. Now, just to mount the switch, which is easy because I chose 2-prong micro switches, which fit very, very good into the lock and unlock portion of the radio. Go ahead and cut this off. I now have a turbo hacked 12588. Again, let's see here.
Okay, touch it.
Wesley, go on, son.
Touch it.
That's exactly what I did. I peeled off the top portion of this button with my fingernail and with a little micro flathead screwdriver. I exposed that middle dot, and this outer rim stays, and there's like this little plastic film underneath that. Just peel that off around that button area, so that way you can get to that metal and solder one lead to the outer rim and one lead to the inner rim, and again, they cannot be touching. So it's not the prettiest job, but it works. So as long as it works, I'm gonna go with it. Now, if I can just get it in the case without it undoing itself. Now I probably didn't even need that much wire considering where everything is placed. I probably could have got away with using 2 inches of wire and been just fine. Alright, so now I'm going to size up where my lock button is at. This is going to go down and around, underneath, because I still want all my other buttons to work. That's definitely a key in all this. The lock button, don't care if that works, but all the rest of them, I do care. So what I did was I positioned the turbo wire around over to the lock button area, and now I'm getting the screws back to screw the bottom board down. So that way the buttons will have pressure and be useful. So that part is important. I try to put all of them back. Now remember, this will void your warranty, as will any hack. Huh? But the benefits are worth it, I can assure you. Now I have batteries in this, and so that way I can continually monitor the scan. And it is still scanning. It's still there. Now look, the way I did it, I basically made it to where this is just gonna pop out that hole, that lock button hole right there. See what I'm saying? See, now this is a dilemma. I could probably just glue that down or chisel that out, or hell, just screw it down. Seems to work well. I'm just going to screw it down. See how that works. I've been known to use glue in that area, but I've got such a tight fit that I think I'm snagging the base of the base of the switch, which is good. Because it gives me the pressure I need to hold it steady. So that way it's rock solid tight. You don't want a flimsy switch. You don't want wire hanging 4 feet out for you to go chicken. You have to be all delicate with it. No, that's just laziness. If you're gonna do it right. Okay? That's why I'm giving you this information. Showing you how I do it. I'm not saying my way is the only way to do it. It's obviously not. The guy who originated this hack, Steve Holte, he's come up with many variations of how to do this, and he is the man. He's done it with push buttons, toggle switches, you name it. He's done it. Rerouted buttons, bass boost buttons to be the turbo buttons. Oh, great. At the moment, I now have a turbo hacked 12588. Bam! When I want to turn it back to FM, hit mode. I'm on FM. Bam! You just watched me take a regular 12588, show you how to hack it, and add the turbo switch. It's very easy stuff. Just takes a little bit of practice, and if you ever want to try it, just follow this exact method. It works. These micro switches, you can get them on eBay. I think I got 10 for $10. They're cheap. They're $1 a piece. And if you don't want to get 10, I'm sure you can get one for $2.50 or something. They're well worth it. They're the only ones that I really recommend because of how they fit inside that slot. And there are other ways of doing this. Like I said, Steve Holte has drilled a hole right there and mounted a push button right there and made that the turbo switch. And I've always envied that one, thought that one was really cool. Wesley, go on, son. Anyway, that is how you hack the Radio Shack 12588. If you have any questions, sound off in the comments. And if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later, YouTube.